Welcome to the Fantasy Dominators. We know your time is precious and we don't want to waste it. So we got a quick rundown of who are the best sleepers in this fantasy draft this year. I am Poinky, here to hit it up with you. And we have Davey. Davey, this is his full-time job. He researches drafts. He researches rookies. He researches players. And every week, we're going to get to you. Who should you play? Who should you not play? Depending on that week. If you're frustrated, don't know who to play, come on, check us out. Fantasy Dominators. We're going to start with QBs. Dave, I want to hear your rundown. When we're going through this draft, it's a deep league in quarterbacks this year. My personal opinion is I'm going to wait. I'm not going for a top dog because there's just so many that will drop to you. Dave, what I really want to know is your quarterbacks. Because like we just mentioned, quarterbacks are dropping late. So what quarterbacks would you go with after, let's say about the 7th round?
7th round. After round 7, Tom Brady's a good one. I know he's suspended the first 4 games, but it's so deep that you can grab another quarterback way late, like a Jameis Winston, who I like a lot. Grab him, play him the first 4 games.
So wait, you're saying Jameis Winston's the top one you'd grab?
Well, you don't need to grab him in round 7. You can grab a Tom Brady in round 7, and then grab Jameis Winston in round 10 or even later.
Gotcha.
And then you can play Winston the first 4 weeks, and then you've got Brady, who we know what he's going to do.
Let's say someone takes Brady earlier than what you want to reach for. Who would you take? Going down the line, all the top Qs are gone. We got Breeze is gone, and Brady's gone, Roethlisberger's gone, and we're down that list. Who would you take after that?
I like Phillip Rivers a lot.
Okay. So Rivers, who else?
Phillip Rivers. I like Eli Manning is going to throw for a lot of yards. They added Sterling Shepard, which should help. Matt Ryan can't be as bad as he was last season. They've got a high-powered offense. They like to throw the ball a lot. He's got Julio. They added a tight end that I know you like a lot, Austin Hooper.
Yes, I do.
And then there's rookie guys like Dak Prescott could actually surprise people this year. Carson Wentz, I like a lot.
I agree. I'm again, like I said, this year there's so many quarterbacks. Why get one early? Get a stud play early. Wait because there's so many quarterbacks that can perform as good as those top quarterbacks. Maybe they'll be a surprise this year, or just a little under. So, for instance, my probably top 6 I'd go with. I'm gonna wait until maybe the 8th round. I'm nabbing Eli Manning, number 1. He's got Sterling Shepard there. Victor Cruz is back, and also Odell. They're going to be airing it out. Yeah, he throws out interceptions, but he's going to be getting a lot of touchdowns this year. Like probably what he was 3 years ago when Victor Cruz was tearing it up. After that, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan could never be that worse. And there's leagues where he's not even going. We have to
most leagues.
Yeah, we got to remember he's got Julio Jones over there. The Falcons will be back. They had a horrible year last year. After that, I like Derek Carr. He's got 2 stud receivers on each side, just a young receiver up and coming. I do agree with you on Phillip Rivers. I hate Phillip Rivers, but
No.
He looks like he's got a stick up his butt when he's running, and he's like, throwing constipated. But anyways, he's got so many targets to throw out this year. And Keenan Allen's back. Their new Travis Bench and their new pickup beast.
Hunter Henry.
Gordon should be back this year. He should be a stud this year compared to his last year. So if you have a running game breaking open, your wide receivers are going to have more opportunities with that running game breaking open with Melvin Gordon. After that, I also like Jameis Winston, like you said. He could have a good year where you can get him at. And Carson Wentz. He just went to the starter for the Eagles. Let's see what he can do. And if you're going to gamble on somebody, why not gamble on a rookie that could prove himself? He's got something to prove. So I'm not reaching for a quarterback. I'm waiting. I'm getting some stud running backs and wide receivers, tight end. You got to get a tight end. We'll get to that in a sec. But let's go to running backs now. Running backs this year. We already know who the top dogs are. But in our opinion, there's this area where there's top dogs running back. And then there's kind of no running backs going. And then at the end, there's a bunch you can still. We're going to talk about these running backs we think you should wait on and still maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round. There's plenty of them still there. Unlike other years. Other years after the 5th round, there's nothing left. This year we have so many. So we do have some we agree on, we don't agree on. I love Thomas Rawls. That's still a little early. But I think he's going under the pack, and I think he's going to have a breakout year. After Thomas Rawls, Matt Forte. This is the lowest he's ever gone, ever in fantasy. They haven't projected splitting carries with the Jets. Matt Forte is a beast, catching balls all the time. If you're getting points per reception. So I love Matt Forte. Matt Jones, we both agree on Matt Jones. Starting on the Redskins, got a lot to prove. Melvin Gordon, he is looking like a beast this year. Melvin Gordon's a great one you get late. Arian Foster, just where you can get him. I'm saying him because we can get him. I know he's injury prone.
He's not going to play all 16 games.
That's true. I would be a little iffy on him. Amir Abdullah, I think he's going to take that Lions starting position like that from Bell, and I think he's a great still where you can get him.
And I have a bias against small running backs, but so we disagree a little bit on that. I love Amir Abdullah's talent, but he's a midget, and I don't like midget running
Barry
backs.
Sanders was a midget.
We'll see. But he was built thicker than
That's
Amir
true.
Abdullah is.
So who else do you? We both like Chris Ivory. He's
We
a
do
beast
like-
of a runner.
yeah,
where
I
you
like
can get
Chris
him.
Ivory a
So
lot.
remember, these are where you're gonna get your players. We also like DeMarco Murray, where you can get him.
I
but
love DeMarco Murray.
if you get DeMarco Murray, you got to make sure in the next round you get what?
You
Dave?
have to get Derrick Henry. Have to. You probably don't need to get him the next round, but at least 2 rounds later, you should grab him because somebody's going to grab him because he's a Heisman Trophy winner. You've seen what he can do in preseason. You don't want to wait too long to grab him. If you grab DeMarco Murray and you don't take Derrick Henry, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
You're
the next round.
dead.
The next round, you got to get him. You hear me? If you get Murray, grab Henry the next round. So we're going to move on. We got a few more running backs, and these ones are going to be surprises to a lot of people. The biggest one that we both agree on would have to be Terrence West. What happened in Baltimore, Dave?
Justin Forsett was released.
This has just happened this week. If you're still drafting, get Terrence West.
Yeah, which some people think Justin Forsett being released was a huge shock to a lot of people. I actually wasn't that surprised because I thought Terrence West was going to win that starting job over Justin Forsett.
And who else do you think might steal a starting job in Seattle, which is news to everybody?
I think Christian Michael could actually win that starting job. And everybody's like, oh, it's preseason. Christian Michael was a 2nd-round pick out of Texas A&M, and he was a monster.
But everybody's always talking about it, never shows up. So
Exactly.
I'm iffy, but
He's always had the talent. He's a strong guy. His problem was always he dances around too much. He's not decisive, and that's changed. He figured it out. He's figured out the playbook. He's figured out what he needs to do. He trusts his eyes and he goes. And it's not just training camp. There's been rave reviews about him through all of training camp, all of preseason, and you see it now. You saw that big long run he had in preseason. He's got a couple touchdowns. So he actually, and I don't trust Thomas Rawls' health. We disagree on Thomas Rawls. He loves him.
I think he's going to be a beast and tear it up. But if he does go down, handcuffs to have.
Yeah.
Handcuffs to have Christian Michael. So let's go on to wide receivers. We talked about Qs. We talked about running backs. We're saying Qs. Wait for him to drop. We got plenty. Running backs. Grab the top dogs and then wait. So in that middle pack, wide receivers. There's a lot of good wide receivers you want to grab early, and then there's some sleepers to think about. So grab early. Davey loves Mike Evans. He thinks he's going to have a blowout season with James Winston. I love Sammy Watkins, but he is injury prone, but I think he could have a blowout season this year. Jordy Nelson, we disagree on. Anybody coming off an ACL injury? Sorry, I'm not touching you. But he was a beast before. Dave, what do you think about Jordy?
I love Jordy Nelson.
He thinks he's going to be playing?
He's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I would honestly be okay. I wouldn't take him at the back end of the first round, but if somebody did it, I'm not saying, oh, you're crazy, that's a stupid pick. Because especially in PPR leagues, I love Jordy Nelson.
So let's talk about one pick we can agree on we think you should grab, because he's fallen in a lot of leagues. Keenan Allen.
Oh,
Grab him. He comes to you, grab him. He's going to have a breakout season this year. He's got help on the other side now. So it's not just him. He's got plenty of help. He's got a running game now. So other than his quarterback, he's got a stick up his butt. He should do excellent this year.
I have to say I'm a Chargers fan. And normally I'm like, the people that draft all their players from their team, I'm like, you're an idiot. I actually don't normally touch Chargers just for that reason, because it's my team. And I don't want to take those players because I'm like, that's my team. And I don't want to be disappointed if they don't do well. I don't want to get mad at them. But this year, there's just Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen, and Phillip Rivers. It's just too tempting. I feel like the offense is going to be so good.
You got to take Keenan.
And people disagree. People think the Chargers are just going to be so bad this year. I don't. I feel like Rivers is going to throw for a lot of yards. And Keenan Allen was on pace to be a top 3 wide receiver last year. And as far as Melvin Gordon goes, I know we're past the running back position now, but
let's get back on pace. He's going on his Charger rant, so here we go. Sleepers at the wide receiver. Let's talk about some people aren't grabbing like they should. We know about the Josh Gordon. He's going to be a good pick in the middle. We also have Dante Moncrief. He's a good pick. Mm-hmm. But let's go down the line a little. Sterling Shepard. It's really not a surprise. We all know, but grab him if you can. Let's talk about some that are a surprise. We both love Michael Thomas with the Saints. I think he's going to be a beast, the number one. I think he's going to take over that little midget's job for number one receiver anytime soon. Big, tough, fast receiver. Brandon Cooks he's not a number one receiver. So we both love Michael Thomas. I love him more. I think he's going to be a number one receiver in New Orleans by the end of the season.
I really like Michael Thomas, but he was a second round pick, not a first round pick, which doesn't always matter. But I think he's going to take a little bit more time to develop than he thinks. He thinks he's going to step right in and be the number one receiver in New Orleans.
But either way, grab Michael Thomas.
Yeah,
Saints.
I think he'll be a good red zone target.
I want to talk about 4 wide receivers out of the number 2s. So they got the number 1 beast. But the number 1 beast is always getting all the attention, so a lot of times the number 2s benefit from this. Here's 4 I want to mention to keep your eye on. Will Fuller with the Texans. Tajay Sharp with the Titans. I think he's going to be the number 1. Laquan Treadwell with
Laquan
Treadwell with the Vikings. He's going to be taking all those hits from Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs is going to be on an island. Laquan Treadwell's going to be getting a lot. Kevin White on the Bears. The Bears love to throw the ball. He's going to be on the other side. And also Chris Hogan. Other great pickup. Chris Hogan.
I like Chris Hogan a lot.
So, at those wide receivers, Dave also loves Tyler Lockett this year. I'm not big on him.
Love Tyler Lockett.
But he thinks Tyler Lockett's going to be a beast this year.
Love Tyler Lockett.
When you got Doug Baldwin as your number 1 receiver, I mean,
especially if you're in a league that you get return yards, take Tyler Lockett.
It's true. For that,
I actually think he's going to outscore Doug Baldwin this year.
I think he's a better player. He's more athletic, but Doug Baldwin's got more of the skills. So I'd stay away from Seattle. My rule is stay away from Patriots and Seattle receivers. It's a gamble in running backs, unless it's the Seattle Seahawks running back.
Normally I agree with that with Seattle, but I actually think they're going to pass the ball more this year.
And that is why we're going to tight ends. Jimmy Graham. We both agree to a certain extent that Jimmy Graham will be back. He's going way low. Grab him before you get to that low range. He's going like the 140s, 130s.
Yeah.
He's worth more than that. So, tight ends. Dave loves Colby Fleener. Why do you love Colby Fleener?
Because Drew Brees uses tight ends.
Yep, that's a great reason.
I was actually talked into Colby Fleener because people kept saying Colby Fleener, and it seems like every year people try to make Colby Fleener happen, and I was just like, I'm out on Colby Fleener. But people kept talking him up, and I'm like, why? Why are people so high on Colby Fleener? And then I looked at the statistics, how much Drew Brees uses the tight end. And I'm like, you know what? He got Benjamin Watson to look like he's a Pro Bowl tight end almost. And they paid him a lot of money, and so
it's all about that QB wide receiver tight end compatibility.
Yeah,
makes or breaks in fantasy. So other ones, if you're not going to get Greg Olsen, which I don't think you have to reach, I think you can get him in the 4th round. If you don't get Greg Olsen, wait 2 more picks and go for Delaney Walker. If those 2 are gone, I am waiting for a tight end. I'm not going after anybody else. I'm waiting way down the list. I'm waiting for whoever falls to me. Julius Thomas, Jimmy Graham, Jared Cook, Zach Miller, Dennis Pitta. There are plenty that will fall to you. There is one that we both agree will be a stud one day, but I'm not touching him this year. Hunter Henry. Dave thinks he's going to somehow pass up Antonio Gates, which I do not. So quick rundown. This year, in the fantasy, quarterbacks. I think you can wait and still be fine. Don't waste top picks on quarterbacks. Running backs. Get some good running backs early, then wait. There's some great running backs later on. Wide receivers. Grab some wide receivers early. Just keep randomly getting some wide receivers. Don't drop off with the wide receivers because once you get past that Will Fuller stage, who else is in there in that area?
I have to say I don't like Will Fuller.
Well, no, but I'm saying after him, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's that's true. I see people reaching for guys like Sammy Coates. Don't take Sammy Coates. I keep hearing people say Martavis Bryant is suspended. And they're taking chances on Sammy Coates. If you've watched this preseason, that guy fumbles the ball more than anyone I've ever seen. Don't take Sammy Coates.
So make sure you get your wide receivers pretty early. Don't wait on wide receivers. Wait on quarterback. Wait on some running backs after you already got some good solid running backs. Grab wide receivers early. Tight ends. If you don't get a top dog, wait to the end as well. Last thing we didn't mention, defenses. Defenses are stacked this year, just like quarterbacks. I'm seeing so many leagues where the Vikings aren't going yet. The Jags aren't going. Wait until your second round pick. Grab the Vikings D. Grab the Raiders D. Grab the Jags D. Defenses every year, they have the rankings of the defenses, and the top 5 are never the top 5 at the end of the season. There's always a few surprise D's that tear it up, correct?
Yeah, I see people every year in like the 7th, 8th round, they'll reach for that top defense, and by the end of the season, that's never the number
Grab
one
a running
defense.
back at that 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
A starting running back is still available.
Yeah.
Same thing with kickers. You should be taking your second to last and third to last picks around there on a defensive kicker, and then your last pick could be something else, a gamble, such as a rookie sleeper. But do not take your D or your kicker early. They're never going to be a top. It doesn't matter when you can get a starting running back instead. All right, we'll be back with you next week. Tell you who to sit, who not to play. Or to play, right? We'll see you next week. From Davey to Poinky. Dave will be doing his research all week long. This is what he does for a living. We'll see you later on